tomorrow night, or it may decide to wait until after the budget in February.
South Africans were financially better off in the third quarter of 2023 compared to the other quarters of the year. Now, according to the latest debt index from Debtbusters, South Africans are spending slightly less of their take-home pay to service debt, but our debt-to-income ratios are still very high.
So if you compare it to the last few quarters, yes, we're a little bit better off. If you compare it to the last few years, unfortunately, we're not. We normally look at the debt index when we compare it to the same period in previous years because, the business is very cyclical. And I think when we did that, we saw that our purchasing power has gone down, which is probably not surprise to anyone watching the show when you factor in inflation. But the biggest impact on consumers has actually been the cumulative effect of successive interest rate increases and high interest rates. And what we're seeing there is average in terms of unsecured debt, which is generally your personal loans, your credit cards, and so on. The average interest rates there have really shot up to 25.5%, which is really, really high, and probably one of the highest that we've seen in the last several years.
Now, according to Debtbusters Index, the demand for debt counselling and online debt management has shown an increase. Debt counsellor Benay Sager says this trend could continue depending on the Monetary Policy Committee announcement next week on interest rates. Rate hikes have been a big contributing factor to debt levels.
I think the starting point for me is looking at your bank statement. We all get it every month and probably don't look at it enough. And I would urge people to look at two things in a simple way. The first thing is look at what are the biggest expenses that are going off from your bank account. And if those are debt-related expenses, debt servicing, paying back credit, and so on, do talk to a debt counselor to see if they can help you get longer period to repay back this debt. The second thing I would urge them to do is look at the smallest expenses. Often these are the ones we ignore, but they actually accumulate over a period of a month. We've seen many instances where people do 5 Rand, 7 Rand, 3 Rand transactions, and they add up. And the thing to realize is if you are, for example, topping up airtime and things, every time you do a transaction, there's also an additional fee that's charged for you. So make sure you're aware of these fees. There's probably some savings there that you can unlock for yourself. So that would be my two tips, especially as we go into the festive season and we know we're going to need that money.
Here's a look now at your market indicators.